3 citizen comments. We have Judge Shearhart. Yes, sir.
Thank you all very much. I'm Chris Schuhart, Medina County Judge. For those of you who don't know me, I just want to share with you all an incident. This past week, on Friday, we moved into our new building, which I think everybody can agree with us. It's a beautiful building, probably a great addition to Hondo. At Thursday, about 10 minutes to 5, I got a phone call from Keith saying, hey, did you read the letter at 3:32 saying we don't have a temporary C of O, that we couldn't go into the building? Well, we have everything planned. We got the phones being moved. We've got the citizens' business being moved over there. Everything's moving over there. And at 3:32, I get a letter saying we're not approved. So I did call over to Laura's office, and I called and I talked to Scott, and Scott said that, you know, they're worried about the liability, to which I questioned, what liability do y'all have? Because it's our building, we're taking it on. I did ask him to have his attorney call me so I could work through that issue, because we're moving. We can't go backwards on this. We're moving in. And then I jumped in my truck, went to the annex, because I'm a little bit PO'd about why don't we have a CO? And I get handed a email from Bureau Veritas basically saying we're okay for a C of O, for the TCO. And when I get that, I'm just thinking, okay, what is it? Bureau Veritas is your inspector, not mine. And my guys got this on Monday saying we're okay to go in. And now on Thursday at 3:32, I'm getting a letter with 5 additional things on it saying what we need to do to move in on, before we can move in on Friday. So that is just I've never been here to complain about this, but for the 2 years that I've been working on these buildings, it is hell to get anything done with this city on permits. I mean, you can go talk to the administrators at the hospital, you can talk to the school administrators. They've gone through the same thing. They share their war stories with me of what's going on. Medina County has been a great partner to the city of Hondo. And just to give you a few things, over the past years, we had to pay $120,000 in permit fees to build those buildings, which are paid for by taxpayer dollars. We've not donated, but we've transferred by agreements over $560,000 to the city to help with your training centers. We've bought over $100,000 worth of land from you, some of which we've turned around and donated back to, like the food pantry and other citizen needs that are out there. And we do all that, but it doesn't seem like we don't get any reciprocation out of this. I mean, it's like, hey, not only are we going to hammer you, we're going to hammer you harder than anybody else. And I'm here to tell you that you know, we got other things that we're trying to work on. And you know, the last time, and I don't see the librarian here, but that poor lady came into my court about a year ago to ask for $10,000. And my commissioners at that time were so upset with the city that, I mean, she walked into a hornet's nest. I felt bad for her. We ended up giving her 5. And Vulcan was sitting there and donated the other 5. But you have 4 guys that run this county that are not happy at all with what's going on with the way the city treats us. And I just want to share that with you, because if you treat us like that, how are you going to treat other businesses that want to come into this town for economic development purposes? And I think y'all need to seriously look at that. And with that, I know there's no questions to be asked, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Mr. Chavez Lopez.
Good evening. My name is Shael Lopez. I reside at 1002 Avenue S. And tonight I want to talk about the pay raises. You know, it's also about the treatment the workers are getting here, you know, because of the fact that you're considering to give the employees a merit pay raise, you know. Merit pay raises are not, or the system is not good because it promotes favoritism. Only the workers that are closest to the supervisors are going to be, if you're proposing to give a 5% raise based on the merit, only the ones closest to the supervisors are going to be getting the 5%. The rest are not going to either get 1%, 2%, or 3%. So I would hope that you would consider giving him a 5% cost of living across the board to all hourly employees here at the city. That would be fair, because the merit system is not a fair system of pay. Thank you. Of pay raises.
Thank you, Mr. Lopez. Moving on to agenda item number 4, discussion pertaining to assurance of temporary certificate of occupancy for the Medina County Courthouse Annex. I guess since Judge Shearhart spoke, we might as well discuss this.
Okay.
Laura?
Good evening. So I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all may have on the activities that transpired last week. I think that this has been a long and winding road with the Medina County Annex project. The first thing I want to say is that we're in full support of what the county's trying to do, and in no way are trying to hamper the growth of the city. I know that a lot of times it seems that way because we have a difficult job in upholding codes and ordinances that aren't fun, and a lot of people don't, I don't want to say appreciate, but they don't understand all of the details that go into approval of those types of temporary certificates of occupancy and certificates of occupancy. And so our role from a permitting standpoint is to ensure the safety of the citizens and the employees that are in that building, and to ensure that all of those checklist items are met prior to allowing the occupancy of that building. It's unfortunate that the feelings that were expressed earlier in this meeting exist, and we hope to mend that relationship. But I'm happy to answer any questions that y'all have on what transpired last week, as well as what transpired earlier in the month.
What were those items?
Sure.
Excuse me, Lloyd. First of all, why did he have an approval letter
Yeah.
since Monday?
Yeah, that's what I was going
That's
to get
my
at.
question.
And then on Friday, they couldn't get in. What transpired from Monday to Friday to keep them from going in?
So a little background on the temporary certificate of occupancy item in particular. So that item's been discussed between city staff and members from the county staff since about April of this year. We understood that that was going to be their trajectory, and what they were going to be seeking was a temporary certificate of occupancy due to some delays in the site work, materials delays and things of that nature. And so we've been awaiting that application. We had not yet received that formal temporary certificate of occupancy application. What took place on Friday, they had called into our third-party inspection company, Bureau Veritas, for building finals. When that building final was resulted, basically the inspection result was put into the system, our inspector put a note okay to TCO. At that time, on Friday, when we received that result, we immediately called our building inspector, as well as Jesse Trevino of Teal Construction, who is the contractor, the general contractor for the county, to correct that item, because our inspectors are not authorized to issue temporary certificate of occupancies. That comes from the city staff level and the development officer, and there were several checklist items that still had to be completed. Excuse me?
Comes from the inspector, which is, you said that the regular city is, who is it, Mark?
So the temporary certificate of occupancy would have been issued by the development officer, which is at the time myself. I act in that capacity. So that inspection came to us via email, and that's why we alerted them, not last Friday, but the Friday before that, to ensure that they fully understood what checklist items needed to be addressed. A follow-up email was sent on Monday with those checklist items, and I can go through each of those with y'all.
Did I hear you correctly? They did not file application for temporary?
Correct. So we didn't receive the official request for a temporary certificate of occupancy until after business hours, well, late in the business day. I don't remember exactly what time.
Of
but
what day?
On Thursday,
On Thursday.
last Thursday.
And they moved in Monday?
After that letter was
They
sent,
tried, what day did they try to move in?
last Friday.
Last Friday.
So essentially, the checklist items that,
I'm not understanding something here. why did the Judge Shepherd has a letter that he got on Monday to clear them to be able to move in? So what happened that they, who sent that letter out and why weren't they?
Took 4
not-
days.
Well, it wasn't from the city,
Right.
though.
He's referring to the inspection report that was emailed on Friday, not last Friday, but the Friday before that.
And
And
they don't
that's-
have the authority to issue.
Correct.
The
So
city has
that's,
to
that's
do
why
it.
we reached out to the general contractor, to inform them of that, and then followed up with an email, where the general contractor and a member of county staff was included on that email. We, thought that that was very clear. It was the same 5-item
So
checklist
everything's
that
their
was on
fault because
Thursday.
They didn't file the.
No, sir, I don't think that at this point it benefits us to place blame on the county or vice versa. I think there's things that need to be improved in our permitting process. I think he's absolutely right that there's things that can be improved. Typically, I wouldn't get up in a,
Okay, I understand that, but something as important as a courthouse for Medina County and the city of Hondo to be open and have all this discrepancy at the last minute? I mean, who is to blame for all this on the city part of it? Who's to blame on it?
Well, the city made their contractor aware of everything that was outstanding, and they've been aware of it
Since when?
for how long?
I mean, we've discussed what's required to apply for a temporary CO since we had a meeting to discuss their request for impervious cover variance and the rezoning of that property. As y'all recall, that was back in April
Yeah.
of this year. So that discussion came up during that meeting. We were not aware, and I say we, I was not aware, I'm not gonna bring my other staff members into it. I'm the development officer, and so I'll refer to myself. I was not aware that they were trying to move in on Friday until we received the Hondo Anvil that comes out on Thursday. It was front page news that they were moving in on Friday, and that's why we felt that it was
All right,
vital that we sent
They
that.
had planned to move in on Friday for weeks, and you didn't know
It was
about
in the
it?
paper. It's been in the paper, but
We
that-
haven't
that-
received any
as-
request for a temporary CO.
we're, I am not here to blame anybody, Laura, but we have to streamline the process. So who got the email that they were good to go? You or Judge Shuhart?
So the emails are,
Who got the email? That's all I want to know.
both of us. The emails are sent out to a email chain.
Both of
So
you?
there's several people that are included on the inspection reports.
Both of you? So, if you got the email and you're reading it on Monday, because that's what he said, that he received it on Monday, and if you received the same email, should you not have maybe reached out to him or his administrative assistant if they didn't, say you got the email at 9 o'clock in the morning, and they hadn't reached out to you by noon or 1 o'clock, and just to avoid this, what we're going through right now between the city and the county, and finger pointing is ugly, and I'm not gonna lay blame on anybody. But we have to, if you got the same email he got, you have to reach out to him within a few hours and say, hey, I got your email, you have not reached out to me.
We
I'm
did,
just for a better process. He also stated that when he made contact with your office, or the email that he received, there was 5 additional items identified to keep him from moving. I mean, if this entity is saying it's a go, and then he receives documentation from your office, from the city office, that, oh, by the way, these 5 additional things have to be fixed, met, coordinated on, whatever the case might be. Why are we waiting so long to identify 5 additional items? I mean, do you have it, it's been a drawn-out process for you, a very drawn-out process. So did he, yes, he did receive 5 additional items that were bad or wrong with that building, or not? Because
So,
that's what he said. I'm reading it right here.
so the email with the inspection report was received the Friday before last. And then that's when we reached out to the general contractor, who is the main point of contact for the construction project, and informed them of the issue. Then a follow-up email that was sent on
But at
Monday.
that time, you didn't know they wanted to move in on Friday.
Right,
That's
because
what
we
you
hadn't,
just said, that you
right.
didn't realize it till Thursday, the day before they were supposed to move in, right?
Right. So regardless, that 5-item list was sent in the email that was sent to the general contractor as well as a county employee on Monday. That list did not change on Thursday. We just felt that it was imperative that it be put in a formal email and letter so that it was very clear what had been received and what had not been received by Thursday. So those items that are being referred to, they're not paint a wall or put in a socket here. They're general items that are required, just generally speaking, for issuance of a temporary certificate of occupancy. The first was a written request for a temporary certificate of occupancy stating what activities would be taking place in the duration. Number 2 was that all life safety systems must be tested and operational, and those systems must pass final inspection with Bureau Veritas, and that a partial pass would not be accepted. So at the time, the TMS system, which is the inspection logging system that Bureau Veritas used, showed not a failed, but a non-passed inspection for the fire sprinkler system. We didn't feel that it was wise, and we felt that it would cause concern to issue a temporary certificate of occupancy in a building that we were not certain and didn't have written approval that showed that that sprinkler system was operational. If there were going to be people within that building, we felt that it was important to have that sprinkler system operational, which we received verification late on Thursday that it was.
So does our fire marshal have any responsibility to make sure that that system works? I'm just
No.
asking. No?
Our responsibility is to make sure it's inspected by people that are licensed to inspect that system. And so our inspection company, Bureau Veritas, is licensed to inspect that system, and the individuals that installed that, the fire sprinkler system installers, have certifications that go along with that. So that's how that.
Let me interrupt you, Laura. Look, we can sit here all night and discuss this. It's just that I don't understand for something as important as a Medina County courthouse and our staff not be familiarized with everything that's going on with them being in the city, where we could coordinate a little bit better and be on top of these things and not wait till the last minute. I'm sure somebody knew that they wanted to move in on Friday, and then all this comes up. You're telling me that you didn't find out till Thursday when you saw it in the paper. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, y'all need, whenever something like this and as important as this is going on, y'all need to be on top of everything and notify the right people that's supposed to be notified instead of waiting from one day to the next when they're trying to move in. I just can't see how the city of Hondo, with all the inspections and everything that needed to be done, did not know that they were going to move in on Friday. That's all I'm saying. That's what I'm upset about. You know, something needs to be more coordinated with city staff, you or whomever has to do that. And I don't think that we should be discussing this any further. It's just that the city is not on top of what's going on in the city.
Are we working with the county to get those items closed out so that
They
we
were
can
closed
get
out on Friday,
Good.
and the temporary certificate of occupancy was issued Friday at
Great.
noon.
So we're good now. And so that, there's, the lesson learned is we probably just obviously need to communicate better. Pick up the phone sounds like a little bit more than just sending emails, right?
Yeah,
So,
Right,
thank you.
absolutely. Thank you,
thanks for your clarification on all that.
thank you.
Moving on to item number 5, we're going to table this item and add it to the next council meeting.
Yes.
Right.
Now we're gonna table it again. We tabled it, it didn't get put on last time. I asked for them to put it on this time.
Well, Mayor Danner put it on.
And Mayor put it on there on my request, so I didn't have to be involving anybody. Now we're gonna table it again and have to wait another week.
But he wants to participate in that one.
Yes, sir.
That's not what he told me today. But, you know, I'm not in charge of the table right now, so you do whatever you wanna do.
Moving on to item number 6, conduct a public hearing on the proposed property tax rate for fiscal year 2021-22. Judy?
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of the property tax, and then we can open up the public hearing. The voter approval tax rate for FY22 is .4866 per $100 valuation. The voter approval M&O rate is .3688. Debt tax rate being at .1198. The average homestead taxable value is 127, roughly 128,000. That's an increase of roughly 14,000 compared to last year. Tax on average homestead is going to be $621, increase of roughly $60. Total levy on tax of all properties is 1.8 million, which is an increase of 106.
And I'm sorry, Councilman Vela, if you would have just go ahead and open the public meeting, since this is a public meeting.
Public
The
hearing.
item, go ahead and open it, and then she can continue her presentation during
Okay.
the public hearing, and then you can.
Open public meeting at 6:22.
Okay, so the total tax on all the levies on the properties, like I said, is 1.8 million, which is an increase of roughly 106,000. That's just a quick overview of the tax rate and all the facts with it. If you all have any questions,
I don't. You answered mine earlier today. Thank you so
yes,
much.
it is a decrease compared to this year. We're currently at .4940, so it's decreasing roughly a .0074.
But the taxes are, people's taxes are gonna increase based on the valuations of
Yes.
the property
The value.
in Medina County.
Well, to make it clear, it's not the city that's doing this, it's the increase on the value of the property, not that the city is increasing the tax rate, right?
No, the
Yeah,
tax rate,
The tax rate's going down.
It's going down, but
Yes.
see, a lot of people don't understand that. That's why I'm
Yeah.
trying to make it clear that it's not us, it's the value of
yes.
whatever you own.
Your assessed taxable value increased, but the tax rate is going down compared to this fiscal year.
Anybody in the public wish to speak? Closing at 6:23. Judy, agenda item number 7.
Okay, discuss and consider ordinance number 12440921, an ordinance making appropriations for the support of the city of Hondo, Texas for fiscal year beginning October 1, 2021, and ending September 30th, 2022, and adopting the annual budget for the city of Hondo 2021-2022 fiscal year and setting an effective date. This afternoon, I present to you just going to do an overview of the changes I presented to you in a couple council meetings ago after the changes we made to the proposed budget. I've given you copies of the PowerPoint also. Just going to hit kind of the highlights for the changes. Of course, we're trying to minimize the financial burden on residents, lowering the property tax rate like we stated, no change in water and sewer rates, minimal increase in the sanitation rate, which is just the 2% to cover the cost of increase from Republic Service. We're going to hope for improvements, which is the completion of 14th Street, improvements to the wastewater treatment plant, establish a street improvement plan with our bond money, AMI water meter conversion, and the utilization of grants, which is our CDBG grant, our home grant, our TxDOT Safe Routes to School grant, our diesel equipment grant, USDA grant, and the American Rescue Plan Act. The total budget for the year is $24,710,734. This does not include any transfer expenses between funds or debt service or anything like that. Includes a full-time new position for airport grounds maintenance and a part-time golf course maintenance position. The positions eliminated, of course, are Assistant Public Works Director, Assistant to the City Secretary, and an Admin Assistant to the City Manager. Total payroll expenses come in at $7,408,273. This does include the merit increase that you all discussed last week, up to 5% per employee based on evaluation. We're utilizing loan funding to finance various capital projects in the amount of $657,000. We established 2 new funds this year, which is our General Capital Projects Fund and our Fair Hall and Livestock Fund. Our nonprofits funds did increase to provide funding to the American Legion in the amount of $1,000 to utility service, making it at $18,380. And then we established 2 new cost centers in the general fund, which is Human Resources and Info Technology. Any questions?
I have a question. So the payroll expenses, that went up total of 4%, correct?
Yes. So we already had 3% in there, so it just increased 1%.
Okay, yeah, that's what I meant, 1%.
Yes.
Thank you.
What is the Information Technology Center?
Before Josh, our Info Technology, which is Josh, was combined in our committed fund. To better account for his expenses, we established him a cost center in general fund. It has his payroll broken down, all of his expenses broken down together in the general fund now.
This requires a roll call.
No, the tax rate does. This can be a regular vote.
Okay.
Just need a motion, a second, and a
Judy?
regular vote.
Yes, sir.
What you put, it said, well, not you, but it says here, the utilization of loan funding to finance various capital purchases. In the amount of $657,000. Just what are those, some of those?
Yeah, so in your proposed budgets, I included a list for you all. It's pretty much all of the asset items in vehicles you see in the general fund. For electric, it's a bucket truck that's aged. For water, it's a needed generator for the golf course well site, a mower for the golf course, and then,
So that, everything got listed.
yes, sir.
On the memorandum that I got in my packet, why don't you show on the electric fund like you show in the and the street department fund, like you show in the water fund, airport, and economic development fund?
For the 4% increase, is that what you're talking about, sir?
Yes.
I apologize. David brought that to my attention. It is included. Their salary increased from roughly $609,000 up to $613, including the merit. So it is included. I apologize. It's not on your list. Street departments is included in the general fund numbers because they're inside the general fund.
It's also showing us, one packet says merit, the other one says COLA.
Yes, I corrected it since last week, and you all discussed that it wanted to be a merit-based.
Because I think COLAs are given out in January, correct?
Well, the merit as well would go effective January. They do the evaluation process up into December. But before, we discussed that we would do just across the board, and then last week you all decided to do a merit-based compensation.
Remind me again, Judy, you or Scott, or any of my esteemed colleagues up here, remind me, why did we remove the downtown sidewalk project? Grant?
I believe the CDBG.
Why did we remove, why was it removed, the downtown sidewalk grant? CDBG?
Because I had received an email that we were not going to receive the funds.
That we're not gonna be receiving it?
Yes, sir.
Did they give us a reason? It wasn't approved or what?
I would have to go back and look at the email, sir,
I
to
couldn't
give you a
find it in my
specific
notes.
reason. Yes, sir.
Why?
I think you sent us an email.
Yeah, I think I sent a copy of it to the entire council, but I'll go back and look.
Well, if it's an email, I'll look for it.
Yeah, I will too. I don't remember either.
And then, Scott, what was the driving factor in not remodeling City Hall? It needs it. All of us here know it needs it. The air conditioner shot, not the post office air conditioner shot, but that's another farm. our city hall needs work. Why, I mean, $75,000 wasn't gonna cover very much.
Right.
However, if we're gonna have staff in here, just a little fixer up, I mean.
After the first budget workshop we had with city council, there were several requests that council had asked to include in the budget. I think we went from 3% to 4%, and some additional coverage, like we included the body cameras for the police department. I forget what the other items are that we added to the budget. We had to start making cuts in order to balance the
Well, I'm not
budget.
gonna blame
Why didn't
everything
you
on the
make
body
cuts on
cameras.
salaries?
Well,
On the
because you-
salaries that we've been, why didn't you make cuts on that?
Well, you asked us to increase the pay
And
costs.
we've been complaining about the increase in salary too, and you don't do nothing about that.
What, complaining about increase in salaries, which salaries, sir?
On city staff.
Okay, I thought you asked us to increase the salary from 3 to
No,
4%.
the thing is, you just put in there what you wanna put in, and I've told you before, when we ask for something, you should do it, and then it's up to us to decide whether we're gonna do it or not.
I've reached out to Scott and to Porky about a compensation study, like an official, like a real compensation study where we look at everybody's salary, and that's,
That should have been,
that's gonna be very expensive
That
to the
should have been
budget.
done before the approval or disapproval of the budget.
That's not something that can happen like in a few weeks. That's gonna be a long-term study. We're gonna have to hire a consultant to do that.
The classification compensation study will take you at least 12 to 18 months if you do it right.
But it needs to happen because there is
Okay,
there's a lot of uncertainty about salaries right
At the
now.
last council meeting, we asked you to, and I think we asked Sharon to figure out the difference between the $1,000 bonus that we gave the employees versus the double time pay. Did y'all bring that up?
That's a different issue, sir. That's where we were talking about the extreme weather event, and I think we may bring that back.
I understand that, but you're saying because of the 3% to the 4% merit raise, you've cut out remodeling this building.
No, there were other items that council came back that they wanted us to add to the budget.
I mean,
Do you have a
some
list
of the
them, or-
things that needed to be added to the
I'm not
budget,
asking you, I'm asking this man over
Right.
here.
I'm trying to help you understand, because those things,
Well, if
we
you
asked
can't
for a
make
balanced
me
budget.
understand- If I've got questions for you, I'll
John.
ask you.
Hey, let's keep it
John.
under control.
Yeah, sure, yeah, come on.
I'm asking this man over here.
Judy, what do we
I'm
have?
So
speaking for the
we
entire council.
increased the merit to 4% to budget, because this is when we were planning just across the board. We added body cameras, which is for 6,000. We added the additional funding for American Legion for the nonprofit. We also removed another position as well. We removed the permit tech that was originally in there. We had to include equipment maintenance for parks. We had to reduce the electric transfer to allow for them to be able to pay for the reconductoring on 90. So that's around 63,000 that we had to take out of general fund.
What's the permit technician?
That was an initial position that was recommended and was included in the proposed budget to add an additional staff to the development team for permitting technician. That was taken out as well, and also with the city hall remodel.
Judy, mine was just a general question. Why the remodeling was removed at $75,000? Because the items that you and Scott are listing and some of my colleagues up there equals $400,000. That is no correlation to fixing our building, Scott. So don't come back and repeat yourself that council wanted this, council wanted that. You're talking about in excess of $300,000 compared to $75,000.
That's because we had to make.
No, there's no comparison.
Let him answer. Let him answer.
Thank you,
I
Judy.
mean, you came back, when we presented a budget to you, the very first budget we presented, it was a balanced budget, and it included remodeling City Hall. Council came back and had additional requests to include in the budget. We included several of those requests, which was over $300,000. And so we had to cut the budget in certain areas in order to meet your wants. And
To balance the budget,
To balance the budget.
which is very important.
Right.
Regardless of what anybody up here thinks. We
Right.
have to balance the budget.
Right.
And when you add stuff to the, let me talk. When when you add stuff to the budget, you have to make difficult decisions, and that's where we're at. And if you add them all up together, they balance the budget.
Well, okay, you said what let me tell you something. For the last 5 years, we have never had a deficit in our budget. And if I'm wrong, somebody can prove me wrong. All of a sudden, and nothing's changed in the city. Nothing's changed the way it operates. And all of a sudden, we got a $400,000 deficit.
So if I may, for this year,
Something's not right here.
for this year alone, for general fund, it's a $440,000 deficit. Electric's a $263,000 deficit. Water at $1.2 million deficit. Even our perpetual care fund is at a deficit. All of these funds are budgeted to deficits. So like Scott said, our goal is to really bring you a balanced budget. We're spending what we're bringing in. We are not spending what we don't currently are bringing in for the year.
That's what I'm saying.
So when we added these items.
All of a sudden, for 5 years, we've had a balanced budget, and all of a sudden, here we are at a deficit
Johnny,
where nothing's
Johnny,
changed.
That's fine.
I'll provide you copies of your last 3-year audits where you've had budgets that you adopted that were in deficits.
Yeah, I remember us having that conversation.
I'm looking for a motion.
Do I need to read something? What does that mean? God. We on number,
Well,
seven.
I'll make a motion. I'll make a motion that we do not approve the budget as it is.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I'm against.
Those
Against?
opposed?
Opposed?
Aye.
Aye.
I would like to make a motion, you need to, that fails. I would like to make a motion, we're on to 7, right?
Yeah.
To approve ordinance number 1244-09-21. Making appropriations for the support of the city of Hondo, Texas fiscal year beginning October 1 and through September 30th, 2022, and adopting the annual budget for the city of Hondo for 2021 through 2022 fiscal year and setting an effective date.
All in favor? Aye.
Do we have a second?
I second it.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Any discussion before the unopposed? Is your merit raise in this city budget?
I'm assuming at the 4% across the board, yes, but you guys determine whether I get the raise or not. I mean, depending upon the
Yeah, but
valuation.
you got here's where I'm coming from.
Right.
You're under contract. Why should you fall under the 4% merit raise?
I think that's something we discuss at a later time.
Yeah, we should discuss his evaluation at a later
That's an
time,
evaluation.
but it should be in the budget because he's a full-time employee of the city of Hondo.
He's a full-time
He's a
employee,
full-time
but you don't
employee of the city of
understand that
Hondo.
he's under contract.
I do understand it, actually.
All the other employees are not under contract. He's the only one under contract.
In the business world, there's a lot of positions that are on,
Business
that are,
world that you come from.
and there's a lot of employees that are under contract, and they are also, there is money budgeted for their,
Name another employee under contract besides this man.
I didn't say here, I said there's other people.
Uh-uh.
He's a
Well,
full-time
I'm
employee.
not worried about any other business. I'm worried about the city of Hondo. How many city employees are under contract besides this man?
Why wouldn't we budget if we're gonna pay, if he's gonna be evaluated for a merit
I'm gonna
increase, why would
save
we
my
not
breath
budget
because
that?
I know what y'all are doing, so let's just move on.
Okay,
I
let's
just,
move on, I agree.
I just want to say that the mayor pro tem knows what Johnny's talking about. The mayor pro tem has been here 3 years. Yes, he has. He's been here 3 years already before us, and that is the way they've done it for the last 3 years. The city manager's raise is not part of the merit raise that's budgeted year in and year out. It's based on his evaluation. So, Bobby, if you're not gonna say anything about it, you know it. You know Johnny's telling you the truth. You know it as clear as day that he is a contract employee and is not included in a merit raise system.
This is very simple.
Any further
This
discussion?
is
No,
very
we're not.
simple. If he's gonna be evaluated for a raise, then it only makes sense to have that in the budget. Otherwise, we're gonna be paying out money that we don't have budgeted if he gets a raise. So it makes complete sense. It doesn't matter if he has a contract or not. He's a full-time employee of the city. He should be engaged by the city council, just like any other employee should be, as a matter of fact. And we need to have that money in the budget in case he gets a raise.
Bobby, you got a first and second?
Oh, yes. Ordinance number 12440921 passes 3-2. Moving on to agenda item number 8.
Discuss and consider ordinance number 12450921, an ordinance for the City Council of City of Hondo, Texas, setting an ad valorem tax rate of 4.866 cents per 100 valuation for the maintenance and operations and debt service of the municipal government of the City of Hondo for the 2021-2022 fiscal year, providing for appointing each levy for specific purposes and providing when taxes shall become due and when same shall become delinquent if not paid.
Okay. I move that the property tax increase by the adoption ordinance 1245-09-21, providing a tax rate of 0.4866, which is effectively a 6.11% increase in the tax rate, consisting of a maintenance and operations component of 0.3668 and a debt service component of 0.1198. Need a record vote. Mr. Villa?
Yes.
Mr. Heiser?
Yes.
Myself, yes. Mr. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Torte?
Yes.
Passes 5-0. Moving on to agenda item number 9.
Discuss and consider ordinance number 12460921, an ordinance for the City of Hondo, Texas, amending Appendix A fee schedule for the Code of Ordinance of the City of Hondo by amending pertinent sections to reflect current fees, increased fees, deleted fees, new fees, providing a repealer clause, providing a servability, and setting an effective date. For the comprehensive fee schedule, we had quite a bit of changes. The majority of them are focused on the development side. I provided you the memo from our development superintendent for more reasoning, but also I provided you a list. In that list, it consists of adding the additional fair hall fees, increasing the sanitation rate, like I stated in the budget, removal of the inspection fee for community building fees, certification of occupancy, changing that fee to a flat $80 rate when not included with a permit. This being because when you have a permit, that cost is included already. Fire marshal safety inspection fee, flat $100. Fire code related plan review, which would be an actual cost plus the 5% admin fee. Floodplain development permit, $50 plus applicable fees. Consultant review fees, preliminary plat and final plat is already in the comprehensive fee schedule. We are just separating it out on the list. Those fees are not changing in price. Minor plat, $200. Plat recording at the city offices would be actual costs plus $25 admin fee. Specific use permit fee would be increased to $500. And a concept plan review would be just changed its wording to site plan review. Field deposits, like we discussed in prior council meetings, would be increased to $250, and the airport hangar increasing $5, continuing that $5 annual increase at $175.
Hey Judy, what was the fair hall rental fee?
It's $600. It's included here. Let me get it.
I mean, it was 600?
We maintained the same amount of fees as what the fair hall was currently charging. It just, of course, wasn't in our fee schedule because we didn't have it absorbed at that time.
Talking about the deposit or the rental fee?
All the fees included.
So I mean, what's the $1,400?
That's the rental fee.
That's the rental fee.
Yes, $600 deposit, rental fee, half's due up front, and then they have 10 days before the event to pay the remaining amount.
So 1,400, that didn't go up, that's what it's been?
That's what it's been. Yeah, we kept the same fees.
Okay, I didn't know that. It's kind of steep.
We didn't increase them at all.
Does that include AC?
Yes,
Hey, Judy,
yes, sir.
the barbecue pit, that's City Park number 1?
No, there's a barbecue pit right outside the fair hall,
Okay, yeah,
when you're
no,
driving in.
so It only cost you $100 more to, to rent the rodeo arena, seriously?
That's what the fair hall was charging. We kept them all the same. The only thing we changed is the extra day. They used to charge them additional amount for AC. We just looped it all together and said, if you have an extra day, you're gonna use the AC, and just made it a flat rate.
Nobody, well, I guess not, because there's not very many people on staff that use those things. I think $250 for that barbecue pit is a little steep. To me, I mean, and that's steep. Hell, I can go barbecue in the show barn, rodeo arena, for $100 more, shit. That's just,
We just maintained the same that the fair was charging to keep it steady.
and then I saw no increase in the, Little League fields.
Yes, that's the one we brought, Krista and I brought to you to increase the deposit amount to $250.
And this book's been updated?
Yes,
Yeah, I saw that in here.
Oh, there it is.
it's just the field deposit amount instead of $150 to $250.
That's just the deposit.
Yes.
So usage, that's what I was bringing up the last time. Not so much the deposit, but the usage. It's $150. Is that per field, per day, or is it just per day for both fields or all 3 fields?
It's field per day, so whatever
Per
field you.
field, per day. Awesome.
The
Is it
staff's,
really?
that's what the fee schedule states per field. It says field per day, so depending on the field per day, I would
It's not the
assume.
complex per day?
It says field per day, so I guess if you have multiple fields booked, I don't know if they qualify the complex as one field. I could clarify that with Carissa.
Yeah, we probably should get clarification on that, just so we're clear on that.
Yeah, definitely. Also, the staff's concern was to increase the deposit amount because of the mess that was left. It wasn't adequate for the time they were spending cleaning it up.
Yeah, it was quite a mess a couple of weeks ago. It was ugly.
Yeah, the city shouldn't have to clean up anything except for picking up the trash, right?
Yeah.
Everything should be collected in the trash
Yeah.
bins, right?
They wanted to make sure if that situation arose, that they had adequate funding for the time they're gonna allocate cleaning up all that mess.
I agree.
I have a question, Judy, on the specific use permits and zone change, rezone request. Why is there so much increase on that permit, $400?
So in the memo I provided you from Laura, it states that her reasoning why. Let me see here. The current fee does not cover the cost of public hearing notices and mailings. So they're having to send out mailings, the public hearings, all the advertisement. $100 wasn't sufficient enough.
What was
for
that for? I'm sorry, I didn't hear
The
the question.
specific use permit fee.
Okay.
And the variance fee also, right? It looks like the variance fees kind of mirrors the specific use.
Yes, yes,
So
sir.
It's really $400 more? I mean, are we losing that much money?
I know the ads alone are pretty steep, and then if they're sending certified mail, that's around $7 per
Yeah.
mailing. So I could see it being in that $500 range, just because certified mail's so pricey.
Open for motion.
That's on this list that I found on my desk, here in front of me.
Yes, sir.
before I got here.
Yes, sir.
Even before Scott was here, and I don't know if I mentioned it since Scott's been here, whenever you send this packet out on Friday, see how many pages we have to read? You know how long it takes for us to read this?
Pretty long, I would
Pretty
assume.
long, right?
Yeah.
And then we come here, and you expect us to read all this before our city council?
I apologize. I added the
All
memo.
this needs to be in the packet.
I added the memo after because I realized a lot of them were focused on development and that you would want reasoning behind them, so I placed it there for you all.
You know, that's why I get here at 5:15 at the latest, most of the time, because I'm always finding all this for me to read before a council meeting, when I've had to read all this over the weekend.
Yeah, can we try to have everything finalized?
We will.
Thank you.
Definitely.
I'm open for a motion.
I make a motion that we approve orders number 1246-09-21.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Right.
Opposed? Passes 5-0. Moving on to agenda item number 10. Discussion regarding vector control. David Baker.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem, council members. At the last council meeting, y'all asked for an update and clarification on the vector control process for the city of Hondo. And I'll give you a little brief overview of that and then answer any questions that you may still have. Currently, vector control is done approximately May through October based on the actual problem that we're having with mosquitoes, and also if we get any specific requests by customers through the work order process. There are some limitations to that. We do spray automatically after rain, about a week after we start spraying proactively. And then we're limited to work order requests after that. And also weather plays a big part in the ability to spray. You have to have winds under 12 miles an hour and the right conditions. We currently spray.
We have work order requests for the mosquito spray?
Yes, if a citizen has concern about a particular area, they can call in for a work order and we'll spray. We currently use a 2003 Ford Ranger for that process and a 175 CFM sprayer. And we do utilize the new mixtures that are water-based instead of mineral oil, so it does stay airborne a little longer.
With the sprayer that we have now?
Correct.
How expensive is that?
The reason I've asked this question about this mosquito sprayer, and I've been asking it for a couple of years now. This mosquito sprayer that we have, you can get more spray out of a spray can, air spray can, than you can this mosquito sprayer that sprays a mosquito spray out there. Whatever, not as this new technology or something, but I don't see the purpose of the mosquito sprayer going around town when it don't even spray, nothing comes out.
Well, it is.
I remember when I was a kid, we had a mosquito sprayer here in town, and kids would run after the mosquito truck just to get in the damn phone. And now, you know, like I say, our mosquito sprayer, you could get more spray out of the spray can than you get out of that mosquito sprayer.
I think some of what you're seeing is the different process now using the water-based mist instead of the oil-based. It's not as visual, but we do encourage children to go inside during the spraying cycle. So.
Well, I'm not saying that the kids are going after the mosquito truck now, you know, because there's no spray, but it's true, you know.
We're gonna call for it
I don't
coming
know.
tomorrow, David. We should get rid of mosquitoes by tomorrow. There's a
Yeah.
call for it
Well,
coming in
it's been
tomorrow.
pretty dry, so I don't
Yeah.
think it's a big issue right now.
I think one of the things that may have brought up the question about vector control is you haven't seen any spraying in the past month. We have one employee that's licensed with the vector chemical license, and he's been out, so they weren't able to actually mix chemical at the time. But we are also in a dry spell, so the mosquito problem has been minimal.
Well, I'm just saying, in my opinion, it's a waste of money. You have that mosquito truck, we're paying a man to drive that mosquito truck, and I don't know how much we're spending for chemicals, and I don't think it's doing any good. For what the spray that comes out of that sprayer, I don't think, that's just my opinion. Because I see, when it does go out, I see it go by in front of my house, and, you know, it's worthless, in my opinion.
David, do you think, in your opinion, do you think the size sprayer we have is undersized? Or what's the problem?
Well,
Why isn't it as effective?
It's 175 cubic feet per minute is what it projects. They do make a 350 CFM unit, the next size up. But if volume is what you're after, you can just drive slower. and get the same saturation.
Isn't there anything that we can do to check this sprayer to see if it's spraying out right, or, you know, if it's functioning right or not?
Sure, we'd be happy to have it serviced.
Not service, to be inspected to see if the proper spray, the proper amount of spray that's supposed to come out of this sprayer does come out, or if it's clogged up, or what, I mean, if that's the way it is, you know, in my opinion, it's just a waste of time and money.
The gentleman that operates that unit holds the Vector license, and he does watch the chemical consumption during the time he's spraying, and he would definitely notice if there was a lack of consumption.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Moving on to agenda item number 11, we're going to table this item. Mayor Danner put it on here. And now we're going to go into executive session. 6:56. Too late.